was in a dance class a month ago, and our teacher called for an adagio in the middle of the floor, and my adagio was so bad. I was so shaky, and I could barely balance, and I could barely lift my legs, and I was just falling all over the place. I remember standing there thinking, ugh, I used to be able to do this. It was like breathing. It was so simple and easy for my body to do. And something about that moment stayed with me, and so I made myself a promise. 30 days ago, I committed to stretching every single day. And I want to show you what that actually looks like, not just physically, but everything else that came with it. When I was younger, I never imagined that I would be rediscovering dance in my 30s. But here I am, starting again after 6 years away and doing it as a mom. And what started is just wanting to feel like myself again and to move like I used to move. It's become something I didn't fully expect. The first day I started stretching, I could barely sit in my splits. I could get into them and I could stay there for about 5 seconds, and my hips and my legs and everything were just screaming at me. And trying to lift my leg, my hips and my hamstrings, everything just felt like concrete, so heavy. I kept thinking about when I danced as a teenager. I would go into class and warm up at the bar, and everything would just feel so warm and loose and open. It was almost like everything was like liquid and it just moved. Now, it felt like ice. My body had completely forgotten what it was once capable of, and I just could not move it in the same way. Don't judge my turnout, okay? I know it's really bad. What this whole process showed me is that it can be so difficult to show up for yourself, even if it's for something you genuinely love and want to be doing. There were so many days where my toddler had gone down for a nap and I just wanted to crash on the couch and take a nap myself. Or there were times when I would look at the clock and think about my whole day and all of the things I needed to do, and I would be like, I do not have the time. Or honestly, there were days where I just felt lazy and I didn't want to do it. And I had to make a choice. Am I actually gonna come through for myself today? There was actually this moment around day 3 when I almost scrapped everything. I was like, this is dumb. No one's gonna care about this. Why am I even doing any of this? And my husband was like, no, you should do it, even if you're just doing it for yourself. And even if you're just filming it to hold yourself accountable, which, by the way, it did help me be accountable. But every time I showed up for myself, just 10 or 15 minutes, I truly started to feel something shift. Not drastically, just little by little. I would finish with this quiet sense of accomplishment, I did that. And that feeling started to make a difference and started to matter in my day by day. I want to be honest with you, in the middle of this whole stretch thing, I filmed an adagio to see if I had gotten any better, and I don't know that I did. Before I filmed the first adagio, I had gotten a massage, and I think that really helped open things up and make them loose. And so I did that one better than I expected. And I don't know, maybe the second adagio was really just kind of the same as the first one. But I will say that even though it may not have looked like a big difference, I was starting to feel a difference in my body. My turnout muscles were actually responding, actually working. My body was starting to remember things, and maybe progress really does just live in what you feel before it shows up in what you see. Around the 13th day, something started to click. I was sitting there in my splits, and I had this moment of wait, I'm actually just sitting in my splits. I can just sit here. for longer than 5 seconds, and my hips weren't screaming at me, my legs were actually relaxed. And I just sat there thinking like, okay, something is actually starting to change. The next day, I was able to stretch my leg closer to my head, and that for me was a really big moment where, once again, I was just starting to feel that something was shifting. But the physical stuff slowly started to feel secondary to something else I was noticing. I was starting to trust my body again, and I was starting to feel grateful for it instead of frustrated with it. After having my daughter, I felt this strange disconnect. My body had done this miraculous thing of growing an entire human being, but at the same time, it didn't feel like mine anymore. And this whole process has slowly helped my body feel like my own again. It's such a gift to be able to move your body and to be able to move it how you picture in your head, which I'm still getting there. I have a ways to go. I started to feel awe for my body again, for its ability to evolve and adapt, even after having a baby, even being in my 30s. And I noticed it's spilling into everything else too. When I had given myself that time, just the 10 or 15 minutes, I would show up differently for my daughter. I would be more patient, more present, and I just felt more like myself. I think that there was something about showing up for myself that made me quietly better for everyone around me. And I kept thinking about my daughter too while doing all of this. I want her to know and to believe that she can do hard things, and how can I teach that to her or show that to her if I don't even believe it for myself? I am truly surprised by the progress I have made. It may seem like a very small difference for my adagio, but I can feel it in my body, and that feeling is everything. And let me say, I absolutely still have progress to make. My turnout could be better, my balance could be better. I can still lift my leg higher. I can stretch it to my head, which is progress. 30 days ago, I stood in that studio feeling discouraged and deflated about my body, my flexibility, and my technique. And I made myself a promise. And I don't think I fully understood what that promise was about when I made it, but I think I'm starting to now. It wasn't just about my flexibility, it was about showing up for myself and my body and for my love of dance. And I've been thinking a lot about what that means in this whole bigger picture of me dancing again. And I think I'm gonna make a video about that in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned.